So with a chair yoga class, we still need to warm the body up in the same way that we would in a regular yoga class. So whereas we may be sitting on the mats on the ground, instead we're just sitting in a chair. So we're going to go through a little bit of a warm up. Um, a lot of this doesn't need to be hugely adapted from what you might do on the mat, but there are a few additional things that you can do. So I really like to bring into a seated class as part of the warm up parts from the Porn McTarsana series. So this is a series kind of devised by the Bihar School of Yoga. Um, and there are three series. So the first one is considered anti-rheumatic, and it's about loosening the joints and creating space for prana to flow. So this is the one I tend to focus on in a kind of seated class as a warm-up. The second series is focusing around digestion, digestive and abdominal health, and more within that area. And then the third series is the Shakti Bandha series, and about energy logs and focusing around the abdominal and pelvic area to remove blockages. So the first series, the anti-rheumatic and series, is really helpful because a lot of it is about kind of loosening the joints, which is what we do when we're warming up the body anyway. So we can start with toe bending and ankle bending. So you can straighten your legs out and just move your toes. You can do it both legs at the same time, or if you're teaching a chair yoga class, you might be okay to lift both legs up, but your students might not be. So one leg at a time would be better. Ankle bending, so you're just pointing and then drawing back your foot, and ankle rotation, so just rotating through your ankle one way and then the other. So you can do this on both feet. Again, you can do them at the same time, but like I said, for your students that might be uncomfortable and they put too much strain on their backs. You can also do what's called an ankle crank, where you take the foot and you just kind of rotate again through the ankle here. And again, you can alternate directions. But again, if your students don't have that flexibility or mobility in their hip, this might be quite tricky. One thing to also add before you even start to lift your legs up and move around, if you're doing teaching a chair yoga class, to make sure that the chair is stable on the floor. Even if you've got a wall behind, put the legs against the wall so the chair isn't going to slide out from underneath your student. So we can do knee bending. So you're holding the back of the thigh, just extending and flexing the knee. And then you can maybe even lift that leg higher, bring it down and draw it back in. So lift that leg higher, bring it down, draw it back in. So again, how high your students are lifting their leg, or even how far they can straighten their leg, will depend on your students. So again, you can do that on both sides. So lifting, extending, bringing the leg back down. And then you can also come into a half butterfly. So bringing one leg up. Again, this is going to depend on how mobile your students are. You can lift the leg up, bring it back down, move it up and down, and then even try to bring that leg a bit further down. So you want to avoid really putting pressure, especially on the knee, but you can gently guide the leg down, and I'm holding the foot with my other hand. So with all of this, try and keep your body upright as you're moving through your legs. Maybe a slight engaging of the core of the belly, or if you've got a chair where you can sit back against the back of the chair, that's helpful. And you might even, or for your students, want to place a cushion behind their back so that they're not kind of slouching to get the support of the back of the chair, and they can stay a bit more upright. So we can take hip rotations. So just circling the hip one way. And again, you can hold on to the foot if you want to, or I prefer to just do it like this and get a nice big wide circle one way and then the other way. And again, both sides, just grounding the opposite foot, just kind of pressing into the ground, making sure you're sitting nice and upright, getting that movement through the hip. And then we can come into a full butterfly, but seated on a chair, you can do it. But I think for your students, if they're coming to a chair yoga class because of perhaps kind of mobility or physical reasons, then to bring both feet up like this can be a bit tricky. But it's an option. Again, just making sure you're sitting nice and upright and just moving maybe those legs gently, maybe from side to side. So then moving on to the hands, we can stretch the fingers out, clench the fists, stretch them out, clench the fists. So I like to use the breath here, inhaling to stretch the fingers out, exhaling to clench the fists. And then we can also bend our wrists, so down and up, using the breath again. Maybe exhaling to bring the hands down, inhaling to bring the hands up. And then we can rotate the wrists. And you can do this one arm at a time or both arms together. And then again, rotating them the opposite way. And then we can bend the elbows, bring the hands out. And again, you can use the breath here. So maybe inhaling to reach out, exhaling to bend the elbows. Inhaling to reach out, exhaling to bend the elbows. And then with your hands up here, you can rotate your shoulders. Big circles one way, big circles the opposite way. So then taking the hands back down, you can let your head drop to one side, rotate the head around, over to the other side, back round, over to one side, just dropping the opposite shoulder gently, and back round and over. So bringing the head back up, just making sure you're sitting kind of nice and upright. So shoulders stacked over your hips, slightly maybe engaging your core a little bit to make sure you're not collapsing into your back. So then we can take some of the same kind of warm-ups we would do sitting on our mat. So taking a side bend, just reaching one hand up, leaning over to the other side, and you can hold the chair here for a bit of support. Make sure both feet are grounded, like pressing firmly into the feet, reaching through the side of the body out through that raised hand, and then swapping. So inhale the arm up, exhale, reaching over. I'm going over to my right here. Inhaling back up, maybe swapping, exhaling to reach over to the left. And then here you can, sometimes it's nice to then bring the hand back over, take it to the left side of the head and let the head draw gently over to the right. And then you can do the same on the other side, reach the left arm up, exhale to lean over to the right, stretching through the left side of the body, and then take the hand to the right side of the head, gently leaning over to the left. So bringing the hand back down. We can take a cat and cow. So taking the hands to the thighs, inhale to lift the chest, exhale to round the back. Inhaling, lifting your chest, exhaling, rounding your back. You can even bring your hands, interlink your fingers, take them behind your head. Inhale the elbows apart as you lift your chest. Exhale, rounding your back, bringing your elbows together. Inhale, lifting your chest, elbows apart. Exhale to round your back. And then you can come up, stretch the arms up, turn to the right, take your right hand down to the chair, left hand to your right thigh, taking a little twist. So inhale to stretch up, exhale, turning, having that right hand wherever it's comfortable. Inhale back to the center, and again you can reach your arms up. Exhale, turn to your left, so left hand down to the chair, right hand to your left leg. Inhaling to stretch up, pressing into your feet, turning to your left as you exhale. Inhaling back to the center, and then maybe just bringing your hands back onto the legs. So from here, you can take a couple of little shoulder shrugs, lifting the shoulders up as you breathe in, relaxing them back down as you breathe out. Again, breathing in to lift the shoulders, up, breathing out to release. And then you can even get a bit of movement through the legs, just marching through the feet or through the legs. Trying not to sway too much, so keeping the body again upright. And then from here, we can even take a half sun salutation or a seated sun salutation. So if I turn my chair to the side so you can maybe see a bit more clearly, coming to sitting nice and upright, just inhale the arms up, exhale to fold forwards. As you inhale, lifting your chest, look forward, so drawing the shoulders back, chest forwards. Exhale, fold back down into the legs. Inhale, reaching the arms up, and then exhaling to take the hands back down. And again, you can do that one more time. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale to fold forwards. Inhaling, lifting your chest to a flat back. Exhale to fold back into the legs, and then inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, taking the hands back down. So there are a few ways that you can start to warm the body up in a chair yoga class, whether you want to bring in those kind of movements from the Purana series, or whether you want to bring in kind of seated versions of the kind of movements and warming up that you might do in a regular class, or a variation of the sun salutation. There's lots that we can do while sitting in a chair. And I really like to kind of think about the things that maybe even don't need to be hugely adapted. So there's lots that we do in a yoga class whilst we're on our mats that we don't really have to change very much in order to do it seated. And it's a good reminder that yoga in its essence really is, it should be, and it is quite an accessible practice. It's just we have to kind of draw out the bits, I think, that and teach them in a way that they can be accessed by everybody. So hopefully that gives you a few ideas for how to start to warm the body up in a chair yoga class. So if you would like to learn a little bit more, please feel free to take a look at my chair yoga training, which you will find on the website.